9 life events that reveal King Charles's true nature. Do you think you know who King Charles really is? Cruel, awkward, and sensitive. These are some of the characteristics under which Charles is often described. In this video, we'll go deep into some of the high-impact events in His Majesty's life. We'll reveal the monstrous, the sad, and the funny events. We're about to separate the person from the persona and open the curtain of royal comedies and tragedies. Let's get started. Number 1. Charles was bullied by his father. From an early age, Charles was known to be a sensitive, introverted child who loved art and books but hated sports. These qualities were far from making his father, Prince Philip, proud, and he spent his life trying to suppress them. In the 1988 book Charles, by royal biographer Penny Junor, it was claimed that Prince Philip had a very difficult relationship with Charles. They didn't speak to each other like a normal father and son, she wrote. According to The Independent, Philip was sometimes too rough on the future king and came across as a bully. This resulted in self-esteem issues for the young royal, who felt as though he was a disappointment to his father. Prince Philip was reported to be gruff, outspoken, and something of a bully, and he had no patience with his eldest son's soul-searching. Sensitivity is not one of the qualities he expects in a man, and by trying to toughen him, he had spent his lifetime criticizing him and quietly undermining his self-esteem. Now before we continue, you can help us save our self-esteem by subscribing and helping us grow this channel. This'll save us from getting bullied by fellow YouTubers. Very much appreciated. Number 2. Meeting the love of his life, Diana. King Charles's sensitivity manifested when he fell in love with Diana Spencer. Charles, 29 years old at the time, was actually dating Diana's bold older sister. But when he met Diana for the first time, in the fall of 1977, Charles admits thinking, what a very jolly, amusing, and attractive 16-year-old she was. The love story between Charles and Diana got so much attention by the public to the point that it became harmful to Charles's reputation later. And as the years went on, and after the couple got married, Diana succeeded in becoming the Queen of Hearts, while Charles was getting more and more disappointing through his awkward interviews and the reported mistreatment of Diana. The story that was regarded as Romeo and Juliet slowly became Beauty and the Beast. In May 1992, the publication of Diana, Her True Story caused an international scandal. Within its pages, biographer Andrew Morton details Prince Charles's horrible treatment of Princess Diana and charts her struggles with self-harm, bulimia, and suicidal ideation. After her death, Morton revealed that Princess Diana was behind his book's publication. She even sat down for a series of recorded interviews. Number 3. The love of his life is actually Camilla. In 1970, 24-year-old Camilla Shand reportedly met 22-year-old Prince Charles at a polo match at Great Windsor Park. Legend has it that she quipped to him, "My great-grandmother was the mistress of your great-great-grandfather, so how about it?" The couple started seeing each other, but would eventually break up. Camilla then got married and had 2 kids. But a few years later, unable to stay away from each other while unhappy in their respective marriages, Prince Charles and Camilla began having an affair in 1986. Prince Charles later admitted to cheating on Princess Diana, but only after their marriage had irretrievably broken down. This affair would mark Charles's life and would become a crucial event, staining his public image, when in 1989, the Sunday Mirror and People published transcripts of a private phone call between Prince Charles and Camilla. The conversation was sexual, with Prince Charles musing, "Oh God, I'll just live inside your trousers or something. It would be much easier." He then joked that he might be transformed into her tampon. Charles's sensitivity went too far with this one. Number 4. Diana rests in peace. August 31st, 1997, was the marked event in both life and his public image. Princess Diana was killed in a Paris car crash. At her funeral, Prince Charles angers royal watchers when he wears a navy suit instead of one in mourning black. However, what people did not pay attention to was that the suit was a sweet reference to his former wife. Princess Diana had always preferred Charles in navy uniform. Number 5. You wouldn't want Charles as your father. The next event takes place in 1991 and illustrates what kind of father Charles is. When the skull of his then 8-year-old son, Prince William, was fractured, requiring a 70-minute operation to correct the boy's forehead, Prince Charles left his son's bedside to attend a performance of the opera Tosca at Covent Garden. But it's his younger son Harry who is going to have a fractured relationship, not only with his father, but also with the royal family, bringing too much attention after marrying Meghan Markle and making headlines when stepping away from his royal duties. Harry expressed that Charles wasn't great at showing emotions. He claims in his recent memoir that Charles didn't hug him after his mother Diana died, and that he learned about the death of Queen Elizabeth from the BBC website. Number 6. The Black Spider Memos. During his tenure as Prince of Wales, Charles sent a series of private letters to British government ministers and politicians over several years. These letters are known as the Black Spider letters, named after Charles's distinctive handwriting. While the content of the Black Spider letters was known only anecdotally and from leaks, they stained the image of Prince Charles as interfering in politics, while his role is supposed to be ceremonial. Until 2010, that is, when the journalist Rob Evans made an application to see the prince's letters to ministers. After several legal cases, the court allowed for the latter publication of the letters in 2015. Upon their release, the memos were variously described in the press as harmless. The Daily Telegraph claimed that the release had backfired on those who seek to belittle him. Number 7. The Death of the Queen. King Charles has waited for the throne for 70 years, and many were doubting if he would ever access it. After the death of the Queen, Charles expressed his deep sorrow and his commitment to serve the nation. The cameras around the world were focusing on him. But this was also the moment of truth. Will people accept him as a king? It seemed that the king was well received, until a flying egg appeared. Number 8. Disgusting eggs. According to the reports, the king is a really big fan of eggs, with one of his favorite meals being cheesy baked eggs, which he tends to have every morning. But there are a few particular eggs that Charles must digest, those thrown at him last year after he became king. Charles's relationship to flying eggs is nothing new, though. In 1995, King Charles was egged during a walkabout in central Dublin. While the 2022 eggs were portrayed as a comical act of protest against the monarch, it was more than just a funny scene. Charles's popularity is not at its best. The events we discussed earlier are hardly forgotten by the Britons, especially Princess Diana's memories. And with Republican ideas spreading more and more, and people believing that the king was chosen by God becoming less and less, it's getting harder for the king to justify his privileges as a monarch, especially during economic difficulties. And the monarchy crisis is not exclusive to the United Kingdom. Many countries under Charles's rule are getting ready to take him down and stop considering him on top of the state. A king's duty is to make sure the monarchy survives as long as he's alive, and the eggs thrown at Charles were a symbolical warning that his reign is not guaranteed. And number 9. The Coronation. Charles is not willing to get down to the treats. He's even taken the role of modernizing the monarchy and is paying his effort to improve his popularity and public image. The next milestone on his path is the coronation, which is a ceremony that confirms him as king. But is that a good idea? The coronation is expected to cost an astronomical amount of money in a time where the UK is facing a living cost crisis. This will be a reason among many that illustrates how Charles is risking his throne. Click on the video in the middle of the screen to learn why Charles may not remain king.